Hello, listeners. We are all products of our environment. We are shaped by every action taken, good or bad. Some of us are powerless to do anything to prevent the bad things from happening, while others embrace the worst that humanity has to offer. So what happens when everything around you is bad? Do you become a better person? Do you give up? Or do you find what really drives you and your existence? In this next research file, we'll be taking a look into the life of Foster Chylds, an individual whose circumstances are some of the worst that humanity has to offer. So listen as we try to figure out who is Foster Chylds. Hello, listeners. My name is Professor Adontes Finch, and welcome to the Nightmare Trials. Now?
Yes.
Then let's begin.
My name is Foster Chylds. I know. What a weird name. I sometimes wonder if my parents actually hated me more than what they said. I mean, who in their right mind names their kid Foster? Especially when their last name is Chylds. They should have just named me Human Punching Bag for all that it was worth growing up. Oh, and yes, you did hear me right when I inferred that my parents openly stated they hated me. It wasn't a secret, and it was professed within and outside of the household. As a kid, I would catch shit about my name or that my family hated me at home, then at school, and then again at home. It was an endless cycle of psychological and physical torture. It really is a wonder I didn't grow up more fucked up than I am now. Wouldn't you agree? Oh, I can't really hear you that well. Anyways, the only thing that really helped me through it all were my journals. They are my lifeline outside of this hell I live in, and something that I use today to cope with the day-to-day madness of this world. You see, my experiences have led me to view the world differently. They molded me into the person I am today. I know, everyone says this, and some people are full of shit. But I truly believe I see the world differently than others. You believe me, right? Listen, you need to understand what I'm saying is the truth. But really, how could you? You know nothing about me. Let me think. Yes, this'll work. Here, right here. This is my very first journal. Let me read it to you, and you may start to actually understand.
Journal Entry 1, July 7th, 2001. Hello, journal, diary, world? I don't know really how to start these things. I've never had anything like this in my life. Nothing that was mine. What I do know is that today is my birthday, and my psychiatrist, Dr. Simon O'Teeve, he tells me that this item is my gift and my therapy tool. I'm to write down my thoughts, feelings, and tell my story as it's supposed to help me cope with what I've been through. And I've been through a lot. It's been roughly 3 months since this day's services took me from my small remote town in southeast Missouri. I was 16, an only child, and, well, broken. My parents, if you want to call them that, weren't the most loving and caring people. In fact, they mostly kept me locked away when I wasn't at school. Every day was the same routine. I would wake up on the floor, no blanket, no pillow, no bed, just nothing. Nothing but the dingy and peeling yellow walls, the mold forming along the baseboards, and a singular clouded window that allowed the morning sunrise to filter into my space. The light would be bright and diluted, but it still never failed to wake me as the rays began to trickle into my room. The bathroom attached to my room had broken white tiles on the floor and an old, single-style sink. My father also installed a single drain in the floor and a shower head that only produced ice-cooled water. I did have toilet paper in there and one towel. Then there was my closet that held 2 plain black crew neck t-shirts, 2 pairs of white socks, and 1 pair of faded Wrangler jeans. I would also get a hand-me-down jacket to wear for the year, but as I've gotten older, the need for a new one must have disappeared. These were my only sole possessions afforded to me from my parents, and they were given to me every year on my birthday. When this time came, they would be sure to remind me that these items were not a gift, but rather a necessity, something they couldn't afford to let me go without. I assure you, too, never once could I ask for more, nor ask for anything different. So that was my life, the same routine, day in, day out. Then there was that day, one of the days that started me on my path of healing. I was coming home from school and I had taken my normal shortcut through the woods. My house was off the beaten path of an area that was being developed, but never really would beyond a building of my parents' house. There was a road that led up to my street and a sidewalk port, but like me, most of these were left to wither away into nothing. Honestly, it was a lot safer for me to take the wooded path than to walk that broken sidewalk to my house. While on my stroll through the woods, I heard a noise off to my left. I turned my head quickly towards the area, only to notice a crudely put-together treehouse just a quarter of the mile down the way next to a clearing. Mysterious, as I had never seen this before. I walked those woods regularly and took the exact same path almost gaily when school was in session. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, just staring at the treehouse and wondering how it got there. I wanted to know who built it, how long it had been there without me ever noticing it, and what it would be like to climb to the top. I began to step forward towards the treehouse slowly, cautiously. I knew I had to be home. I had a tight schedule, and the schedule was everything. Coming home late was not an option, and if it happened, there would be hell to pay. School was out at 3:05 p.m., and I had a 2-mile walk back home. And that means, at least to my father, that I should be home in my room by no later than 5:30 p.m. Typically, I can get home around 5. Not a bad day, 5:15. But today didn't really seem like a bad day, so I had some time to spare, right? My curiosity finally got the best of me, and I started to quickly approach the treehouse. As I got closer, I noticed that there were what seemed to be like old pallet boards crudely hammered into the tree, creating a makeshift ladder. I reached out to grab one to test its strength. I wiggled the board and it gave way some. Then I pulled on the board, as if to separate it from the tree. It didn't budge. Satisfied that the board was well in place, I decided that it was time to climb up. I grabbed the board above me and hoisted my body up. I began to pull my body up, using the strength of my hand and my legs as I hoisted myself upward. The climb was relatively easy, and before I knew it, my head was peeking through a small entryway into the treehouse. I cautiously brought both of my arms inside the treehouse and rested them on the floor. However, the majority of my weight was being held by one single board below me. This turned out to be a huge mistake. Even though my frame was quite emaciated, that much weight contained on a singular point proved to be too much for the makeshift step. The board under my feet gave way, and with it, my body fell. I felt a sharp pain in my right leg as I took the 8-foot plunge to the earth. My feet hit the ground first, taking the brunt of the impact. My right ankle twisted and my body crumpled to the ground. As my head came to rest on the floor of the wooded area, time seemed to stand still. My vision was hazy, but my senses were alive and firing on all cylinders. I could feel the cold dampness of the earth surrounding me, engulfing me, calling me to sleep. I could feel the blades of grass tickling my bare arms and ears as a slight breeze caused them to dance and sway. And then I felt the pain. I felt a sharp sting in my ankle. Blood quickly rushed to my new injury, causing it to swell in an unimaginable size. I felt hot fire on my right inner thigh, and a wetness began to fill my groin area. Did I just piss myself? I thought. My vision started clearing, and I let out a low moan. Oh. I reached my hand down to my inner thigh towards the pain and felt a large hole inside of my jeans. And then, something else. There seemed to be another hole where my thighs should be. I quickly moved my hands away to examine my fingers, and there it was. Blood. A lot of blood. Oh shit, I said aloud, fear and confusion in my voice. I slowly lifted my body up into a sitting position. The movement nearly made me pass out with the pain that attacked my body. I looked down at my inner thigh to see that my jeans were soaked in blood. I just sat there, staring. After what felt like an eternity, I opened the cut in my jeans to find a 6-inch gash on my thigh. I could see the skin that had torn and curled back to expose a yellowish layer of fat. It pushed its way up and out of the wound. I could also see blood that came from the wound. Suddenly, my stomach turned, and I felt lightheaded again. I had to look away. I couldn't look at it anymore. I turned my gaze up to the treehouse. I wonder if I'd caught my leg on an exposed nail on the way down. I must have. The tree itself couldn't have cut me like this, could it? I sat there thinking on it for a minute, and then it hit me. Fuck. What time is it? How long have I been on the ground? I have to get home. Like now. I slowly tried to get up and put pressure on my twisted ankle, only to find that doing so was horrible. I almost immediately collapsed back to the ground. I needed something to help take the weight off my leg. I leaned up against the tree and looked around. Luckily, there was a fairly large stick just 10 feet from the tree. If I could get it, it would make a suitable walking stick. I slowly reached my body out, extending my arm as far as I could while holding onto the tree. I got down to one knee and ran my hand through the grass as I grasped onto the stick. Slowly and surely, I pulled myself back up into a standing position. The stick would do. I was able to put a lot of my weight onto it. So I began the long walk home. Needless to say, but I was not home by 5:30. In fact, I didn't get home until nearly 8. I passed out, I think 3 times, maybe 4 on my way home. I couldn't really remember. What I do remember is emerging from the woods and looking across the grassy vacant lot at a stark white 2-story modern house. The house always looked perfect from the outside. In the front yard was the prototypical white picket fence. The yard was always well kept. My father always made sure of that. Crossing the grassy expanse was agonizing. Each step was leaden, and I had produced an emphatic limp. As I reached the house, I crossed the narrow lane road and walked up the cement pathway leading to the stairs. I slowly climbed the 3 wooden steps to the front porch. I approached the door, the walking stick making a loud woody thump every time it came down. Then I turned the doorknob while pushing my body into the door to open it. Nothing happened. I tried again, and again. The door was locked. I peered inside the front window to see my mother and father sitting at the dining room table eating and not even looking towards the door as I knocked on it. They knew. They knew it was me, and they didn't care. They cared more about the schedule and the fact that I was late more than my well-being. I tried knocking on the door again. They didn't move. In fact, they became even more stoic and hardened. I could see my father's face tighten up and begin to turn red. I just stopped there. It was no use. I curled myself up on the front porch and just laid there for most of the night, peering at the night sky and the stars. I'm not sure when I fell asleep, but I woke up to the sun shining and my body curled up in a ball from last night's cold. I tried moving my leg and immediately regretted that decision. My ankle was tight and sore and my inner thigh shot fire down my toes. I needed to get inside and I needed to examine this thing further. I'm pretty sure it needed to be cleaned and I potentially needed stitches. I painstakingly stood tall and slowly made my way towards the door. I turned the handle and found that the door was no longer locked. I stepped into the house and slowly shut the door behind me. I walked towards the stairs that led up to my room. Holy shit, this was going to suck. There were exactly 18 stairs that led up to my upstairs hallway. Then I had to walk 13 feet towards the back of the house to reach my bedroom on the right side of the hall. But I had to make it up these stairs first. I took a deep breath, and I tried to muster some of my strength. I went to take my first step up the stairs when I heard a thwack. Sharp pain hit my back as something dug into my skin. Then came the noise. The electric hum and rapid tickling sound of my father's taser as it dumped electric current through my body. I spasmed, I seized, I fell, and I passed out. Then I woke up in my room, on the floor, just like always. I was completely naked and I noticed that my leg didn't hurt so much anymore. I reached my hand down to find that there was some sort of padding on my thigh. He must have seen the cut and decided to patch me up. It wasn't out of love, it was, as he would say,
out of necessity.
I rolled over on my side to see that my soiled clothes were lying on the floor. Blood still stained my jeans. A bottle of pills lay next to the clothing. It was some sort of medicine that ended in a sin, so like an antibiotic. And then I noticed a letter. They hardly ever wrote me anything, so what the hell was this? It was within arm's reach, so I just grabbed it and began to read.
I don't know what the fuck happened to you, and honestly, I don't fucking care. You were late. You know the rules, and you know the consequences. If you ever come home late like that again, I promise you that I will fucking end you. I will cut you into small pieces and scatter your worthless remains all over the county. You are so fucking stupid and a waste of my time. I had to clean and patch up your disgusting body. There was no way we were going to take you to see a doctor and cost me money for your stupidity. I hope that cut came from a rusty nail and you get lockjaw. It would save us all some misery. Too bad that whatever happened to you wasn't 3 inches to the left. It would have ripped off that pathetic thing you call a wiener. Now I need you to patch up and clean those clothes. You will not be getting any new ones since you fucked them up. You can deal with those consequences. Clean them and fix them now. And I better not hear a sound.
And that was it. A love letter from my dad. I stayed in my room all week. I wasn't allowed to go to school, which was fine by me. I learned better from my books at home, and I had to deal with little to no shit from anyone else here if I just stayed quiet. Once a day, I would hear my mother's footsteps come down the hall and stop at my door. I would hear the rattle of a fork on a dish as she placed my breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the floor. The door from the outside would unlock and crack open, just enough for her to kick and slide the food inside of my room. That was how it always was for her. She hadn't really looked at me much since I was little. Honestly, I have no fond memories of her at all. She was nothing like what a mother should be. Or at least how I've read a mother should be. Never caring, never present, just never really there at all. When I was little, I was confused as to why. I mean, I never asked to be born. It just happened. And I guess that may be the reason why she hated me. Maybe she never really wanted me. Once the food cleared the door jamb, she would quickly close the door and lock it right behind her. I don't think I ate it all that week. The food just kind of sat there and rotted. Just like me. During my time in the room, I was able to patch my pants up a bit. I was given a needle and a thread during one of my mother's dinner deliveries. I remember taking so much time and care cleaning the blood out of the jeans in the sink. Then I worked on sewing the jeans back together. I really enjoyed that part. Taking something that was broken and fixing it. It was cathartic and made me feel artistic in a way. After that, the week just kind of flew by. When I was able to go back to school, nothing really changed from my absence. The teasing and the bullying started up immediately. Thinking back on it now, I used to care so much about it then. I remember my walk back to school, walking the 2 miles on a twisted ankle and a fresh wound on my thigh, thinking that somehow things would be different. Hoping, praying, willing it into existence that life could be better. But it wasn't meant to be. I had just entered the school building, hobbling along and really struggling to stay on both feet. I made it to my locker and began to open it when I felt someone grab the back of my head and slam it not once, not twice, but 3 times into the locker. Stars filled my vision and my knees buckled. I landed hard on my knee and felt warm liquid trickle down my face. I sighed. I'm bleeding again. Then I heard a chorus of laughter from the other boys. I was grabbed by my hair and had my head jerked back. My body arched backwards, bending and stretching. The individual bent down to my ear.
"Where have you been, Foster?"
He asked.
"I've been here all week without anyone to mess up because of you. I guess this is me saying, I missed you."
He pulled me the rest of the way down by my hair, causing my body to crumple backwards over my bent knees. I quickly tried to shoot my legs out to prevent any more damage to my injuries. It hurt. It hurt real bad. But I think I was successful. Getting hurt just wouldn't do. I had to make sure I was home on time. That is all that mattered. I couldn't be late again, and I wasn't going to let Josh Erickson fuck that up for me. "I missed you too, Josh," I said through strained gasps.
"What did you say, fuckface?"
He said through gritted teeth.
Hey, what's going on here?
Exclaimed one of the teachers. It was Miss Harlow, my anatomy teacher. She was probably the only saving grace for me at my tenure at high school. While other teachers actively avoided me or even joined in on some of the bullying, Mrs. Harlow always seemed to acknowledge me, and in a sense, see me. She is the reason why I probably took such a liking to anatomy and did so well in the class. Regardless, even her kindness had limits on my day-to-day life.
Get away from him, Mr. Erickson, and march your happy butt down to the principal's office.
"We were only playing around. Look, he's fine. It was just a game we play."
Enough of your rambling, Mr. Erickson. If there were fun and games, then why does Foster have blood running down his face?
"I don't know. We were just playing around and he just fell. He must hit his head when he fell or something."
Go to the office now.
Josh reluctantly turned and started sulking towards the principal's office. Miss Harlow bent down next to me.
Oh, Foster. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little banged up. Hey, could you help me out by chance? I sort of hurt my leg last week and it's a bit tender.
Of course. If you don't mind me asking, what happened to your leg?
Oh, it's a long story. But in short, I fell out of a treehouse. She stared at me for a long while, her face contorted into a look of concern.
All right then. Well, up we go.
Miss Harlow helped me to my feet and I opened my locker.
Foster, we need to have your face cleaned up. You have a small cut on your lip and a sizable cut on your forehead. Grab your things and let's go to the nurse's office. Maybe they can look at your leg too.
No, yeah, we can go for my face, but my leg is fine. My father took care of that already. It's fine. Concern etched her face again.
Is there something you're not telling me, Foster? You know you can confide in me, right?
I remember letting out a soft chuckle and telling her that I wasn't hiding anything and that all was well. I just didn't want to bother the nurse with a leg that was already healing up just fine. I remember saying that we should just focus on the new injury and hopefully this was the last I would see of that injury gremlin. She gave me a soft smile and turned me towards the nurse's office where I was patched up and good as new. Luckily, the cut on my lip wasn't bad, and the cut on my forehead just needed a good cleaning and some butterfly stitches. After that, the school day just went on like it normally did. I sat in the back of the class and kept to myself unless I was called upon to answer some questions. What wasn't normal is that I didn't see Josh in any of my classes that whole day. Where did he go? Or, the better question is, what happened to him? If he got suspended for what he did to me, that would be it. He would make my life a living hell when he returned. I thought to myself that maybe if he was suspended long enough that I would have time to heal up. Then I could try running from him if he started his shit with me, which he would undoubtedly do. It's not like Josh is fast or anything. The dude is probably 20 pounds overweight, and I have seen him in the gym get winded as we do warm-ups. Shouldn't be too hard to avoid him that way. But if I get cornered, I'm done for. For his inability to run, he is freakishly strong. It must be all the farm work he does throwing hay. I heard that can build muscle and strengthen a person. So for now, I knew I had to plan on how to escape him until this all just sort of blew over. The final school bell rang and I hobbled out into the hallway towards my locker. As I approached my locker, I noticed 2 of Josh's goons that were hovering and waiting around for me. The first one, Mark, saw me first and a knowing smile crept across his face. He turned towards Cliff and pointed me out. That same smile came across Cliff's face. While these 2 were mean as hell, they weren't very physical when it came to my daily beatings from Josh. They just sort of stood and watched and threw insults as I got my ass beat. So I saw no worries going up to them to gather the rest of my belongings.
Hey, dumb shit.
Mark said.
Your little accident got Josh suspended for 2 weeks.
2 weeks? I said in astonishment. I'll have plenty of time to heal up in 2 weeks. This is the best, worst news I have had in a long time.
Yeah, 2 fucking weeks.
Cliff chimed in.
You know you're a dead man, right? Josh said it himself. He's gonna end you when he sees you.
I remember feeling blissful at that thought. To just be done. To no longer have to worry about anything and fall into the endless darkness forever. Mark slammed his hand on my locker.
Hey, did you hear me? He's gonna kill you.
He would just be doing me a favor, I said.
Jesus Christ. You're fucked up in the head, you know that? Just know that you need to watch your back. He will be waiting for you.
And with that, Mark and Cliff left laughing to each other. They would turn and give me quick glances and start laughing louder. I watched them as they disappeared down the hall. When they were out of sight, I gathered my things and left school. The walk home that day was awful. I can't explain to you how hard it is to try to walk through a forested area with a twisted ankle and a cut-up leg. I felt every pebble under my foot. Every stick or root I stumbled on made it feel like my thigh was going to reopen. Just horrible. But I made it to the tree. I saw it and stopped. I was mesmerized by it again. It felt almost sacred, and at this point very familiar. I'm not sure how long I stayed there looking at the treehouse, but I was quickly removed from my fixation when I heard a twig snap behind me. I turned, but nothing was there. Then there was another snapping sound to my left in the direction of home. My head shot towards the noise, but again, nothing. I looked at the treehouse again and noticed something at its base. Something I couldn't quite make out. I slowly hobbled towards the tree and stopped dead in my tracks about 10 feet away when I saw it. At the trunk of the tree was a small cat, splayed out on its back. Its arms were removed and placed in 2 sets of X's by its torso. Its insides were all placed next to it, and atop the cat's innards was the cat's head. I stumbled backwards and fell directly on my ass. The adrenaline in my body masked any pain I may have felt from the tumble. But I remember sitting there in horror as I noticed that on the cat's forehead there was a carved symbol of sorts. It looked like an unfinished triangle without its base, pointing upwards. Below the triangle were 3 small circles perfectly aligned from one another. Another snap of a twig, this time closer and right behind me. I didn't even take the time to look. I just flung myself forward to my hands and knees, pushing myself up. I tried my best to run away from whatever it was behind me. I veered off to the right and stumbled running parallel to my normal path. I could hear more movement behind me now too, but it was getting further away. Whatever was there, it wasn't trying to catch me, but maybe just scare me off. And it worked. I finally found my way back to the path and immediately began to worry about how long that little venture took me. Would I make it back in home in time? Would I have to sleep on the porch again? So many questions, but the only answer I could come up with was to just keep moving. get out of these woods and get home. When I emerged from the woods and made it to my front door, I was happy to find that I was able to enter. I shambled up the stairs and went directly to my room. Exhausted, I collapsed to the ground and just lay there. It wasn't long after I had laid down that I heard my mother's footsteps approach from down the hall. She stopped at my door and I heard the click of the lock at my door. As I lay there and as the adrenaline wore off, I could feel the uncomfortable feeling of my injury starting to creep back in. Then the uncomfortable feeling turned to pure pain. I just knew that I had torn my leg back open from all of today's activities. But when I checked the bandage, there wasn't any blood. Just the healing yellowish stains of platelets doing their job. I removed my bandages and pulled a roll of gauze and medical tape that was sitting in the corner of my room. I cleaned the area with some cold water and placed the dressing. It gave me solace to know that even within a few weeks of some healing, my wound held up pretty good. There was some general soreness, and the area around the stitches was puffy and red from irritation, but there didn't seem to be any sort of infection going on. When dinner was pushed into my room that night, I ate it all. I had to get as much sustenance into my body as possible. These next 2 Josh-free weeks were going to have to be focused on healing, and I needed the calories to get that done. I just hope that things are somewhat back to normal with my body by the time he returns. The next week at school was uneventful, and I liked it that way. I took the long way home rather than going through the woods. While the path to my house on the road was garbage, the sidewalks that bordered the wooded areas were actually well kept. I had to keep myself from further injury, so the long way home made the most sense. And as the week progressed, the walk to and from school got better as my ankle and thigh began to heal. By Friday, I could walk pretty good and was even able to run a bit during gym class. Nothing too extreme, but I was hobbling around and stopping every 5 strides. It felt good, almost like things were falling back into place. As I was walking back home after school that day, things took a turn. I cannot say if it was for the better, but I can say my life was altered by the events.
Now I really need you to pay attention to this part. This is important information. This is what really made me who I am today. Yes, I had a rough time at home, and yes, that more than likely plays a role of why we ended up here. But it is this moment that made my life actually mean something. I found my purpose, my calling, if you will. Oh, look at me rambling. Let's just get into it now, shall we? Please, pay attention.
The day was perfect. It was a cool 67 degrees outside, and not a cloud in the sky. And the sun was beaming down on me as it made its descent behind the earth. I kept thinking to myself that I only had 1 week left before Josh came back to school. And with that came some hope that I would be able to outmaneuver him in the event that he came for me. Hell, I was even hopeful that maybe this 2-week suspension would be enough to thwart any further attacks on me. I even fantasized it a bit, on this moment changing our whole dialogue. Like maybe he would instead accept me into his little group of assholes, and I would then be protected from the constant droll of abuse at school. Wishful thinking, I know, but hope has a way of clouding reality. I decided to take the shortcut through the woods that day. I mean, I felt good, and I thought the wooded walk would be a good test of how quickly I was healing. As I walked through the woods, I made it to the area where the treehouse stood off in the distance, and I stopped. I stared at it again, remembering the mutilated cat I had found. I began to approach the tree, and I found the cat itself was gone. Probably taken away by some other wild animal or whatever it was that was chasing me that day. I also noticed that the makeshift ladder of the pallet wood was reinforced to the tree now. There were more nails pinning the wood pieces into the tree, and I can see the one that I fell from was replaced now. Was there someone else out here? Were they upset that I broke the ladder, and because of that, they placed the cat there to warn me? I stood there, contemplating these thoughts for a moment when I heard that familiar snapping noise behind me. But with it came the quick shuffling and thudding of footfalls. I was about to get run down by whomever owned this treehouse. I just knew it. I turned quickly and widened my stance for the impending attack. My hands came up in a defensive palm-out pose so I could push whoever was charging at me away, or at least slow them down a bit before they barreled into me. And as I focused on my would-be attacker, that is when everything became clear. It was Josh. He was charging at me with the most horrible smile on his face. His eyes were set in fierce determination, and I knew his intent was clear. He was gonna mess me up something fierce, and there wasn't anything I could do about it. Running now was out of the question. He was too close, and my only option was to try to pull away from him at the last second. As he approached, he let out a fierce battle scream, just like how you would imagine a Roman warrior yelling in bloodlust and filled with battle rage. When he was just barely arm's length away, I pivoted on my left leg and moved out of his way. Directly behind me was the tree. His momentum was too much. His lust to get a hold of me was too much, and his collision with the trunk of the tree was inevitable. He smacked into the tree at full force with his shoulder, and a loud snap was heard. He had to have broken his collarbone. He fell to his back and began to writhe in agony.
You motherfucker. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna take your fucking eyes out and smash your damn head.
Josh, are you okay?
Fuck. No, I'm not okay, you dumbass. I think I broke my shoulder on that tree.
I can go get help. Just hold on. I turned and began to jog away. I don't know why I was willing to help this asshole out. He is literally telling me he's going to kill me, and I am over here willing and ready to help him.
Fuck you. When I get up, I'm going to rip you apart. And after I'm done, I'm gonna go kill that stupid bitch, Miss Harlow. It's because of you two that I'm in this mess. I got my damn phone taken away from me, and my father is making me do double chores all week. You ruined my damn life, Foster. You and that stupid bitch of a teacher.
I stopped. My body went rigid. My eyes began to gloss over as the world blurred around me. Without even turning around, I asked, "What did you say?"
You heard me, idiot. I'm gonna kill you and that stupid bitch.
Without realizing it, I began to turn around. I slowly started making my way towards Josh. The world around me still blurred, but him? Oh, he was clear as day. I could see him and only him. I could see the look of pain on his face turn to amusement.
That's right, you piece of shit. I'm gonna turn her insides out, and when I'm done, I'm gonna piss all over her dead body.
You know, Josh, that isn't a good way of getting away with killing a person. Your DNA would be everywhere. There is no way she would just let you do those things to her without fighting back. She would have bits of you under her nails, maybe between her teeth. And not to mention, your DNA all over her as well. You really haven't thought this one through, have you? His face went from amusement to confusion after that.
What the hell do you know about killing someone, freak boy?
Oh, I know a lot more than what you would think, Josh. I pulled an anatomy scalpel out of my pocket. How it got there, I don't know. Wait. Yes, I do. I grabbed it today after class had ended. I remember taking it because my other one was getting dull. My other one? When did I have another one? I snapped back from the brief wandering and cleared my throat. For instance, did you know that the right cut above the heel can completely immobilize an individual? Even the right cut to the forearm can render someone's hand useless. And even better yet, a skilled knifeman can remove the skin from a person's body without killing them at all. They would just stay there in a constant state of pain and horror as their bodies slowly succumb to hypothermia. Josh's face now turned from confusion to fear. He began to try to shuffle away from me, but he slipped on the tree's fallen leaves and the ground's loose soil.
You stay away from me, you psychopath. You just stay away.
But Josh, I feel like today is a good day to have a lesson in anatomy. It's an art form, really. Something that only the truly enlightened can enjoy. Would you like to become enlightened, Josh?
Get back. You hear me? Get away from me with that thing.
Oh, he was screaming, and he was screaming for me to get back. He even pissed his pants. But in the end, it did him no good. I began my work on Josh. With these hands that are writing this journal, I began my work. I started by severing his Achilles tendon on both legs. It was remarkably not hard to do at all. He was so frightened by me that he practically let me do it. All the noise he made when it happened, and the visual of that little tendon popping and rippling up his leg. I relive that moment all the time. With one shoulder broken, it wasn't hard for me to take his other arm out of the equation. I stepped on his wrist with my bad, but healing leg, and stomped down as hard as I could on his other collarbone. It snapped just like a twig underfoot. He began screaming more and more. I could see some blood pooling around his ankles. It was beautiful, like a symphony of sound and visual stimulus. It wasn't long after that Josh began to cry.
Just let me go, man. Just let me be, and I promise I'll leave you alone.
Oh, Josh, we are far beyond that point now. If I remember correctly, you have been torturing me in school for the better part of 11 years. Every day with you, it was a beating, verbal abuse, teasing, etc. But I think that time is over, and with that, I must say thank you. You have opened my eyes today. You have shown me a beauty in this world I did not think possible.
You're fucking crazy, man.
I am merely a product of my environment. A shit home in a shit town with shit parents and shit people. You have given me nothing but misery until today. Do you see it, Josh? Do you fucking see it?
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Oh God, I don't want to die.
Josh. Calm down. I knelt down beside him and brushed the tears and dirt from his face. I stared into his pleading eyes.
Are we awake now?
Escaped from my mouth in a disjointed voice.
What?
It's a simple question, Josh. Are we awake now?
Yeah, we're awake, Foster. We're awake.
Then let's begin.
I plunged the scalpel into Josh's throat, just enough to puncture his trachea. Any sort of breath he would take now would escape through the hole while his lungs filled with his own blood. It would effectively kill him in time, but I wasn't ready for him to die. I wanted him to feel the pain he had caused me. I started to slice him open, but the cut wasn't perfect. He was writhing around on the ground too much. Regardless, the incision was made. Blood pooled out of his abdomen and chest, and his innards were exposed. I gripped onto his intestines and ripped at them as hard as I could. Josh began to now still, and with his stillness, my real work started. When I was done, his insides were laying next to his torso. His arms and legs on the other side of him crossed in two separate X formations. On top of his innards lay his head. But it wasn't quite right. I knew it wasn't. There was something missing here. Yes. I carved a baseless triangle into his forehead. Below the triangle, I engraved 3 small circles. I felt so alive. Replenished, even. My ankle no longer hurt, and I swear to you, the cut on my thigh was now healed. Just like that. Healed. This was revolutionary in modern medicine, or a secret that they only hold for the most powerful elites. Either way, I had discovered it. But what does it all mean? Is this the path to immortality? I don't know. But it was late. So very late. There was no way my parents would let me into the house. Why would I even want to go back home anyways? There was so much to explore and discover now. I had to clean up though. I couldn't come home covered in all this blood. I looked up at the treehouse and I knew. I just knew. As I climbed, everything started coming back to me. Building the treehouse, the animals, the fall and reinforcement of the steps, and even the disposal of my work. I reached the top and found a bag in the corner. Within the bag were a change of clothes, another trash bag, a lighter, and some lighter fluid. How I procured these items I do not know. I own nothing, but I knew what I had to do. I cleaned the blood off my body with some bleach that I found in the corner and changed my clothes. Then I doused the entire treehouse in fluid and lit it ablaze. The tree lit up the night sky and illuminated the totem of Josh. He looked peaceful, even with his dismemberment. It was an art, even magical. The flames flickered across what used to be Josh and made my work come to life. I felt purposeful and exhilaration. I ended up walking home and slept on the porch in a sleep deeper than I had ever had. I dreamt of all the new possibilities, the places I could travel, and the potential of living forever wherever, and doing whatever I wanted. It filled me with elation. When I woke that morning, it was to a police officer asking me why I was sleeping on the porch and where my parents were. Long story short, the treehouse fire had been called in that night and put out. They had found Josh. Well, the remains of Josh. The police wanted to ask me some questions and see if I knew anything or heard anything that night, but those questions of the event were quickly put to rest. My father came storming out of the house, screaming at the top of his lungs.
What the fuck did you do? Why are the police at my doorstep?
Sir, I have to ask you to calm down. We are here to ask if you had heard or seen anything from last night.
No, we didn't hear anything. We had the door locked and shut at 5:30 last night, and no one came in or out.
Not even your child here?
The officer looked down at me with concern and suspicion. I could see the gears turning in his head. He had to have known the time of the fire at this point, and soon enough, they would be able to determine the time of death for Josh. That would implicate me for sure. I had to get my story straight. I had to do something. I had to get rid of the scalpel in my pocket. Holy shit. I completely forgot that I had the scalpel with me. As the officer and my father spoke more, I inconspicuously reached my hand into my pocket. The scalpel was gone. Where the hell did it go? Did I drop it along the way? Is it on the ground? Oh shit. Where the hell is it?
Hey, kid. Are you with me?
Sorry, officer. I kind of just spaced there. What were you saying?
When did you get home last night?
I was late. I got held up at school yesterday, and I wasn't able to get home before 5:30. I have an injury to my leg, and that slowed me down more.
Well, what time did you get home?
I don't know. Maybe 6.
Said you were walking home, right?
Yes.
What path did you take to get home?
I've been taking a different path for the past couple weeks. I used to go straight through the woods, but I kept hearing noises like something was following me.
Through those woods there?
The officer pointed to the tree line across from my house. Yes.
And you state you've been taking a different path home for a week now due to some sounds you heard in the woods?
Yes.
Did you take a different path home last night?
Yes, sir, I did.
Oh. Is there anyone who can corroborate that story? Anyone who might have seen you take a different path?
Not that I'm aware of, sir. This is a small town, and we sort of live off the beaten path from anyone else. The officer eyed me suspiciously and stared at me for what felt like an eternity. He shot his gaze over to my father.
You don't remember your son coming home last night?
No, he was late. We locked the doors at 5:30, and if he's here, he is here.
And if not, what? You just make him sleep outside?
Well, we have strict rules here, and I really don't need you to tell me how to raise my own children.
Mr. Chylds, I feel as if we have probable cause here to come in and search your premises based on child neglect.
The hell if you will come into my house. This is my property, and you can come back with a goddamn warrant.
Mr. Chylds, I'm going to have to ask you to calm down, and I will be coming into this house right now.
Fuck you, you ain't doing shit.
It was at this point the officer grabbed my father by the wrist and swung him around into a Kimura lock. In one swift movement, handcuffs were placed on my father and he was unceremoniously placed on his ass. The officer went inside my home. All the while, my father just stared at me with hate and disgust. Not a word was uttered. 10 minutes later, the rest of the small-town police force came to my house and found how I lived. More than that, they found a bloody scalpel hidden under my father's lounge chair. It was in a Ziploc bag with what appeared to be a child's ear. I wonder how that got there.
Now you see. Now do you understand what I have to do? You are my reason for healing. My quest. I have been watching you for a long time now. I see how you treat people. I see how you sell drugs to kids and women. It is sickening what you make them do when they can't pay. You are a disgusting human. A stain on what this world was meant to be. So I need to take from you, all of you, to heal not only myself, but the world. But do not cry, do not fret, and do not fight. I'm beginning to see now that I was made for this one task. You are not my first, and you will surely not be my last. So again I ask,
are we awake now? Then let's begin.
If you would like to have an extra bonus episode a month and access to the interdimensional radio station, subscribe to the Nightmare Trials either on Spotify or on Patreon. For the Patreon subscribers, you will need to type in patreon.com/the Nightmare Trials. The cost for the subscription is only $5 per month, and your contribution helps us continue with creating quality content. Further, make your way to Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram to add the Nightmare Trials to your socials. We like to do giveaways, post short video content, and we love to engage with our listeners. We will see you next week with a new episode. Until we meet again.